The content presented is for entertainment purposes only. Some content may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. So with stereotypes, there are good, they are the bad, and sometimes they are the ugly. I think some of the bad stereotypes that are especially coming around lately is that all white and MAGA people are all Nazis. I think that's probably the worst one I've ever heard so far.
Oh, no.
What are some of the ones that you think are the worst? We'd love to hear your comments down below. Hey, welcome.
Hi.
We got
Hey!
Miss Rianne in chair 1,
What's
Mr. Alakai
up?
in chair 2. Miss Alakai,
Whoa.
Miss Rianne, how are you doing? All bundled up and cute in the corner there.
Honestly, I'm freezing my tatas off. It's cold down here.
It can't be that bad.
I don't think that's physically possible.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, you could probably freeze them. I don't know if they could freeze off.
Well, they could
Maybe
freeze
that's a
and
little
then be
disingenuous.
chiseled off, I guess.
Oh, is that? They could be chiseled off. The freak.
Sorry.
What is this?
Was that a little too morbid?
What the hell is this podcast?
I don't know.
To?
I don't know.
All right, moving on to second chair, Mr. Alakai. How are you doing today, sir?
Saw, dude.
Sup, bro?
Don't ever let me do that again.
Hey, girl. Hi.
Oh my gosh. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
I do not know what's happening. This is so weird.
That's something we've done a ton of times.
Dude, I'm
You guys don't
freaking
remember?
tired. I went to Forever Red last night for
Yeah.
the SU. I'm tired.
You're tired?
It was a party, but it was
Yeah.
fun.
Boomer, come cuddle with me so I stay warm. Come here.
We're hanging out. We got Puppies in Podcast.
Welcome to the Puppies and Podcast Show.
Come on.
Brought to you by
Oh, yeah,
NBC.
okay.
The puppies.
Brought to you by Paw Pals.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Brought to you by Chewy.com.
No, we can't say that because they haven't given us any
No,
stuff.
we're just joking. My
Hey,
lady.
Chewy, if you want to send us some treats for our puppies.
Or for me. I could go
I
for
like
some.
treat-
I could go for some Scooby snacks.
I could go for some sick teriyaki doggy jerky. That was incredible.
Dang, Rianne.
At least I
That
did
was-
mine off of air, Alakai.
That was a good one, Rianne.
We need our own like mute buttons every once in a while.
Maybe that would have
would
worked if the camera wasn't on. But
Rianne's been caught red-handed.
yeah.
Red-handed man
On the bathroom floor. How could I?
Giving her an extra key.
What?
Have you never heard that song?
No.
Oh, it's a good one.
It's a very
I'm
racy
pretty
song
sure-
back in the 2000s.
I'm pretty sure I'm living under a rock. I don't pay attention to news. Don't pay attention to new music anymore. No, actually, no.
Wanna live
That's
in a
not
hobbit
new.
hole.
That's
That's
old.
definitely not
I
true.
want to live in a hobbit hole.
That was back when I was in
Well,
high
that
school.
that explains why I've never heard it, because you guys are old.
So
Shut up. We're old, okay? Just leave it alone. Wait, who's calling? Oh, gosh.
probably your mom.
You guys, people are calling me
You-
from work.
Starbucks
Uh-huh.
is having the time of his life.
I think it's the weekend, so I don't think you have to answer, do you?
Answer it and have the conversation live on air here.
No. I need to be better at setting boundaries.
For HR, that was a joke.
Yes, you do.
I already worked like 60 hours this week, so
Oh, only? You're probably still going to do some work today and tomorrow.
yeah. Probably.
On top of that, homegirl over here has school full time, so
Yeah.
Actually, I took it down to part-time.
that okay.
My wife's a rock star. She's
But it's only
How's-
because I'm doing math, and like that takes some.
Brain power.
Yeah.
How's the semester been going for you?
Once I drop my political science class,
doing
which
real
makes
good.
me so mad because I really enjoy political science, but like the professors there, I don't have the patience.
Who do you mind?
I don't even
Telling-
remember,
Oh,
but
okay.
like he sent me like a really shitty email, and I responded very respectfully but bluntly, kind of calling him out on his
That Miss
bullshit.
Stereo?
I need to calm down. Anyway, but then I dropped the class because I'm like, I've got way too much going on, and for you to come at me and treat me like I am stupid it bothers me, because I'm like, you know nothing about me, but yet you're speaking very condescendingly.
Those are the
to
professors
me.
that I hate.
And I'm like, and so I said, if your teaching style is to just throw a bunch of text at students and not provide any supplemental teaching strategies to help them gain a better understanding of it, then you clearly are not the level of professor that I would do well with.
So here's professors that I love how they run their classes, like when they introduce a concept and they explain it in a way that's relatable to you in your own life, or that can be related
Right.
to. And then they're like, okay, now get in a group, or like go
And
talk
have
to someone,
discussions.
have a conversation about it. We'll bring it to like 5 minutes, and then we'll come back, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And I love stuff like that, because then it's like you're as introverted as I am, like the best way for me to learn is to like either be hands-on, have conversations about it, or engage with it. Like I can't.
Right.
Lectures and PowerPoints don't do shit for me.
Well, and that's the thing. Most people learn, and learning is really solidified when there is discussion, when there is actual application.
Mm-hmm.
And it really bothers me when professors like just, okay, so this is what happened. His introduction to the class was like listing a few of his top things, like how he went to Columbia University and got his law degree there and blah, blah, blah. Great, whatever. But then he's like, and I have a myriad of other accomplishments that is too long to list here. Like, I mean, you can tell he's impressed with himself. You can tell, like,
Self-centered.
I am above all, you know, I'm like, and he's an older professor, which, you know, is fine, but
I feel like the older ones are the most egotistical ones.
yeah,
It's weird.
That's where I'm like, okay, you need to take a back seat. And I just like, so I had worked 5 12-hour days. I was taking 2 classes, and the semester had started on Wednesday, and the due date was on Friday, and I was working the fair. So like, just the time constraint itself was really, and I turned in this first assignment late, and his response to me was, this is unacceptable. There's no, like, this is really poorly written, and I will not accept late work. So I responded back and I said, I understand, Professor, but when the time constraints were as the class just started on Wednesday, I had work commitments that took up the majority. Like, I worked 5 12-hour days in a row, and you gave a crap ton of reading and like all this stuff to be done within 2 days for working professionals who are working those 2 days and don't have a weekend in between. Like, I said it much more eloquently, which was really impressive because it was written at like 3 a.m. But then I was like, you know, like, your expectations might need to, considering the program that this class is in, which is a Speedway program, which is supposed to be designed for professionals going back to get their degree, you know? So, like, these are people who are working full-time jobs in a profession doing stuff, like, actually contributing to society. And so, like, I go, your expectation was a little unrealistic for the time frame that was presented during this time. And the fact that you didn't allow me, he's one of those that, like, you have to complete the first module before you have access to the second module. So it's like, I can't even get ahead. And I hadn't even, it was weird. Anyway. And he's like, oh, you stated your case, which means you made a great argument. Or, like, he was just really condescending. I was so mad. And I was like, I'm just going to drop your class because I don't have the patience for you. And I'm pretty sure I would get a really bad degree because I'd call you on your shit way too much.
It's hard, too, with older professors like that because they don't... I've noticed with older professors when they're like that and more egotistical, it's hard to get through to them and like make them realize like you're a human being just like the rest of us, and even you make mistakes.
Well,
like,
and they just assume that like you're coming from such an inferior place. And I go, just because I'm inferior in this particular subject because I haven't spent years at it doesn't mean I'm inferior in all other subjects.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, congratulations, you went to years of law school to sit on think tanks and stuff, but what have you done to actually contribute to your community?
I know.
Right? Like, I'm just... And then I get on my, like, morally superior place of, like, well, at least I serve on boards and I'm making a difference in my community and I'm blah, 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 blah.
It's funny, though, because then, like, professors like that, you can also kind of look at your schedule and, like, look at your classes individually, and you can tell which professors are there because they want to touch those students' hearts or because they want to make the paycheck.
Oh, he's definitely there just to... Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, no.
I'm not a happy camper with that professor. Even though I really enjoy political engagement and political science.
I'm in political communication, so I can... actually, I would engage in what I'm learning in, but I mean, like, our professor's kind of monotone, low-key, so...
Oh, really?
I'm having a hard time paying attention in that class, dude. Like...
Yeah, like, it's really hard to... What is that?
Some things leave you guessing.
My bad.
Well, some things are leaving us guessing, so...
Some ads started, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's hard, because I feel like there are teachers who want to make a difference and who are impassioned when they first start, but then they get into the system of the public education and higher education, which is basically a system designed to create cogs to fit into the machine of society for... Anyway, I'm going to get all... And they lose their passion because it's like, well, I can't do what I really want to do because I don't have the resources to do what I really want to do. And they just... We have to meet these metrics of like standardized testing and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's just like the massive machine that the education system is kind of squelches that passion for teachers. Mm-hmm. And so it makes it really hard for students. So, I mean, I was so bored in school so much. And I honestly think kids that don't do well in school is mainly because they're freaking bored.
You're absolutely right. Like, if you can't find a way, that's one of the hard things as a teacher. It's so, like, the PowerPoints and all that stuff, that's easy because you can just basically have a script to follow for that whole time of class, and that's what you're doing the entire time. Like, it's much easier for you as a teacher. For the kids, that's gonna suck. Like,
it does, yeah.
I hate PowerPoints. It is very rare that I come across a PowerPoint that I actually enjoy.
Right.
It is very, very rare.
Oh, I hate... Well, and this whole thing, like the class I'm in right now. Sorry, we'll get to the topic that we're going to discuss.
No, you're
good. Apparently,
good.
we're on a whole thing.
Guys, you guys are good. We're going to wing it, just like always.
But, like, so the universities and everything, they're charging just as much, but going more to online and everything, which it is what it is. But, like, do people really learn online? No.
That's why I couldn't go into teaching anymore. Like, after being involved in it and seeing how, like, kids are now learning from their computers and not from the teacher, I'm like, that's not a curriculum that I can support.
That's literally just creating a system. It's creating a money-making system for the university.
Yeah. And
how about just read your book and take your test and pass?
Because that's all online. Like, honestly, I can count on one hand. I've been doing school for a year to finish my bachelor's, and I can count on one hand the number of engagements I've had with my professors.
Wow.
Because it's all online, and basically all they do is grade the work online, and it's pretty much automated anyway. And I'm just like... But yet people are paying huge amounts of tuition and
teachers aren't seeing it.
Oh, well, it depends. Well, for higher education, they do.
The teachers that, like, found ways to almost kind of make fools of themselves and, like, kind of be super funny and witty while they're teaching, those are the teachers that I will remember.
Yeah.
And lucky for me, I had some really good teachers in high school. And then getting to college, it was very different because everyone is just a lecturer. Like, it's so rare that you find a professor that has like a strategy to teach that is not based off of a PowerPoint.
I like to open forum discussions.
I love those.
But have like little bits of like knowledge in there, so that way the students can learn and interact instead of just sit there and listen. Because like I couldn't learn that way. I can't learn just reading from a book like relatively easily and pass tests. Like I can learn if I read the book several different times, but I'd have to read the book like 2 or 3 times to gather a good portion of the information to even like get close to passing tests.
See, and I have a really hard time reading too. So like any professor that gives us like, okay, you have to read this part of the book and then you have to answer some questions. I'm like, I'm not going to learn like that. Like if you want me to learn and if you want this information to stick with me, then bring it up in class, open the discussion, and have us talk about it with our peers for X amount of time, and then bring it back to a class discussion where like you can give us your thoughts, and like as a professor you can tell us where you think all this is supposed to relate, and the rest of us can chime in as best as we can. So I mean, like, yeah, I learned application, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, everyone just wants to do PowerPoints now because that's the easiest way to make it throughout your day.
Well,
that, and you can reuse that over and over again as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, people learn best when they're in relationship.
Yes.
So, like, for example, like, I am much more likely to take feedback, whether it's good or bad, from somebody that I have a relationship with, right? And so as a teacher, you build a relationship with your students and they're more likely to learn and be engaged and stuff, right? Like,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this whole online format and everything has been really detrimental even to the youth and everything. It's like the 2 years where we've been pretty much shut down and where everything's been online and everything, it's really had an impact on the development of our youth and understanding how to engage and how to develop relationships with people, like on a core level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why we're feeling more isolated. Like social media is meant to bring us together, but in all actuality it just creates an environment where those skills to develop relationship are non-existent. Yeah. So, but when we're in relationship with people and we work through stuff, like that's when we really learn and it's solidified and everything. And it's sad that we don't have that. So,
I'm seeing that it's, so the online planning and curriculums have increased by like 75% since 2021. And they're saying that it's affected negatively on students up to like 20 to 30%.
That should be...
I feel like it should be a lot like higher, but...
Oh, yeah, they're not going to do that because do you know how much money they're making on like online crap?
Oops.
I mean, if you can just do a plug and play and charge for each plug...
They can also pay their teachers less because all of their curriculum is all online and in forms, and they can just record a big long video and they just have you watch the videos.
Dude, that should be telling you something though. Like if like the negative rate in students is going up, don't you think that something should be changing there? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and this is where I truly believe that technology is, yes, technology is increasing. Yes, technology is getting better, but I think it's also having an adverse reaction to the human element when we become more attached to technology. So, like for this instance, with education, more online classes, more videos, more reading out of the book. People are struggling to pass their classes. People are struggling to have good interactions. They don't have public interactions with other kids, so their development they're much farther behind. look at cell phones right now. Like, people spend more time on their cell phones than they do in books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's having big effects on humanity right now.
To be honest with you, our attention spans, like I've even noticed with my attention span,
Very short.
it is so short. Like to sit
Mine's
down and
so
read
short.
a textbook is so excruciating. I can't do it.
See, even like reading any book for me has always been really difficult. But now that we have stuff like TikTok or Facebook where I can just kind of scroll and like I don't have to watch a video for more than 30 seconds, it's like, okay, cool. I get like a little bit of a satisfaction just from having that versus like sitting down and having like that long, slow process of flipping through each page and trying to take in all the details. Like, yeah.
And nowadays, if you can't get somebody's attention in 8 seconds, you've lost it.
I can't even watching movies and TV shows. I have a really hard time with now. Like I have the hardest time sitting still. Like, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Even sitting here, I'm sitting here doing work, and
You're on your
hearing
cell
a
phone work.
like, I mean, like that should tell you, like, it's awful. I need to change that because I don't like that I can't focus for more than like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
So
I can.
Would
but
you say
it
that
takes,
technology is retraining our, like, rewiring and retraining our brains?
Oh, it has been for years. Yeah, there's
Ever
been
since the first
studies.
iPhone came out.
Yeah, there's been studies on that. Why do you think Steve Jobs never let his children have a freaking iPhone
Yeah.
or iPad? He didn't, because he knew what they were designed to do.
How about all these other like CEOs and stuff from like big tech companies? Like,
Well, I mean, you guys have seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix? Yeah.
such
So it's
a great, like, that's like probably the best documentary I've seen in forever.
So like all these corporate advertisers and sellers and social media marketers were like the first like new age psychologists and illusionists in a way, because they were able to tap into that part of our brains where like because they could understand that we wanted that convenience, we wanted that like super quick. Like,
I don't know if we
I don't know if we wanted it, but I think they saw
subconsciously it was what we were craving. Is like
I don't think we were craving it, because if you look at people, they crave going back to nature. Like that whole going out and hiking is a big thing, because that's more what we're attuned to. I just think they figured out how to tap in and exploit that part of our brain.
Yeah.
Yes, and look at like
To make it so we wanted it.
like if you come home from work and you have like a really, really tough day, would you rather stream a movie from Netflix or would you rather like go to the movies?
Go
with
to the
Jacob?
movies.
Okay, so that's like a lot of
At
people.
least that's what Jacob says.
That's what Jacob says.
No.
But like a lot.
And I'm like, no, I want to be on my couch in my comfy PJs and not have to worry about other people. I want to know that, like, if I'm sitting on my couch streaming a show, and like
Because if
I have a bubble gut, then I don't have to worry about somebody hearing me.
If I got to deal with a little kid behind me kicking my chair, or a group of people a few seats away from me talking super loudly, it's like,
Yeah.
if I was at home, I wouldn't have to deal with this bullshit. But because I'm in public, I have to deal with people.
Right.
And people low-key can kind of suck. So
Yeah.
I have less patience for people in person, I've noticed now. Like,
yeah, same.
I do not like being... I struggled being in large crowds to begin with, just because I get overstimulated. But, like, now, like, I have to do a lot of mental prep work if I know I'm going to be out in the community engaging with people and everything. Because I really have to work on my patience. And it usually comes out in between my drives from appointment to appointment in road rage. I like have to let all these little spurts of irritation and anger out while I'm driving. I'm like, use your freaking blinker.
No one in this town knows how to use their blinker. I swear to
Oh,
God.
It's worse out in Enoch.
you guys.
It's way worse out in Enoch.
Yeah. The farther you get out of Cedar, like it gets worse. People just turn and you're just like, Wait, you were turning?
I'm like, Jesus Christ, homie.
Like I have to wait for people to pass by if I'm turning left or right because they don't use their blinkers, so I don't know. I have to wait until the cars pass.
Yeah, or like it's someone that's from out of town and they obviously don't know where they're going, and they start slowing down for some reason, and you think they're gonna turn, and then it's like,
No, they're just slowing down because they're just looking, and a lot of that is actually traffic from people coming in for like Shakespeare and stuff. So like summer gets really worse because people are still
checking out the national park.
They're not as familiar with the city or where to turn or whatever.
See,
but
it's weird. Like this town doesn't ever catch a break because it's like during the fall and the spring, you've got college students here, and that's mostly what this town consists of.
Yeah.
But then during the summer, once those college students leave, then you've got all the visitors coming from out of town to check out the Shakespeare Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find out that all the drivers in Utah suck. So they drive
so
super
that's a
defensive.
stereotype.
They
yeah,
drive
I was gonna
super
say this is a
defensively.
segue into our actual topic of stereotypes.
You see what I did there?
I am so proud of you.
So
good job.
So
good
proud
job,
of you.
buddy. Thank you.
So they notice that people from Utah suck at driving. So then they have to drive super defensively since everyone here is like,
I'm just going to merge over and not pay attention to who's in the lane next to me.
Someone from
they're
Texas.
not going to use their blinker, or they're gonna park in the left, the passing lane.
No. Someone from Alaska that I know said that they described this to me. They said that driving in Utah is like watching a bunch of people put on blindfolds and get in the car and just hope for the best.
Oh my gosh, that's
and
funny.
that's what driving in Utah is like.
That's
Okay,
hilarious.
but-
That being said, people, stop moving here. The rent is going up like every 45 seconds.
You guys,
And-
no, seriously, it's an issue here.
You need to stop. Wherever you're at, stay there. Trust me, please.
Go
For the
fix
love
your-
of God.
Go fix
Go
your
somewhere
own
else.
states. Go fix your own
don't
states.
California or Utah. I've heard that so much. No, I
that
actually know
hurts being
people
from California.
I know people from California, and I love them, and they're great people, and I'm glad they moved here. Shout out to Trish. Anyway, but like, so Utah drivers, they do have kind of a weird stereotype. Idaho drivers have their own stereotype. But Asians have their stereotype when it comes to driving too.
That is
My
definitely true.
my bad driving experiences is usually almost get hit by women. Sorry to say.
So,
Okay,
this is-
do
In
we want to
general-
talk about how you come to a complete stop in the middle of the road when you start talking on a certain subject? Literally. Okay, you guys want to know my first experience? Well, one of my first experiences
Oh, you
driving
mean
with
when
Jacob.
before we got married 8
Before
years
we
ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is 8 years ago, guys. Just so you know.
It was 8 years ago, but it's not something that's like changed that much.
Yes, it has.
No.
What are you talking about?
No. We're driving and we're having this conversation. We're kind of getting into a deep conversation because we're in that like getting to know you phase of the relationship. And like Jacob's driving and he keeps getting slower and slower and slower, and he's talking a little bit more,
Because I think my turn's coming up.
No, you were like, there were no we were in the middle of a block and he rolls to a complete stop in the middle of the road. Because he was so involved in his like.
I was
discussion.
really excited to talk to you.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Man, you guys remember this stuff from 8 years ago.
I
I can't
know.
even remember what I had for breakfast 2 days ago.
Well, let's be fair. I'm the one that usually remembers things and
Granted,
says-
yes, most of the time, yeah.
My
Yeah.
memory's awful.
Yeah. But still, like all the close calls that I've had driving, like in delivering packages, I literally almost get hit all the time by women.
Oh.
You know what's funny is every single time that I've had like some type of encounter that ended up like physical in the car, has been when we've traveled with it. I got in my first vendor bender when we were in Texas, and then remember the day that we moved to Washington D.C., I almost got in that gnarly accident.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? Like how I was freaking out at the hotel room.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Oh my goodness. I was like,
That was rough.
I was scared to drive anywhere that entire week. Oh my goodness.
I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah,
know you got
so-
in an accident.
Yeah, so there was the day that we moved, or no, you guys were already in DC, but the day
Yeah.
that I was coming from Indianapolis to DC, there was this. I was trying to I was in the middle lane on the freeway, right? and I was trying to get into the right lane so I could get off on the exit where the hotel was at. But this guy behind me, he was pretty far behind. He was speeding, going like he had to be going at least 20, 25 over. And he was going so fast. And I see him just barely, and I adjust myself so I can get back in the lane that I was in. And then he starts bugging out and goes around me, ends up hitting the car that was in front of me, and then like drives over into the other side of the street.
Jeez.
And his ass just ends up right in the back of some trees. Like, oh my goodness. It was awful. I thought I was gonna die.
It's sketchy when you see like crazy crashes like that.
Yeah, and then I was
survive it.
Yeah, and I was because I was in the middle of it. So if he didn't hit the guy in front of me, he was gonna hit me. But yeah, I remember getting off the freeway and being like, oh my god, like having that little panic attack there.
Yeah, that kind of like that shakes you a little bit.
Yeah, it was
gnarly.
So going back to stereotypes. What are some of the stereotypes? Like, I don't want to talk about driving stereotypes because that'll make me angry. No.
We can talk. I actually have this this little website up here that has some common stereotypes for Americans. You want to go through a few of those?
Yeah, let's go through some of those.
People that like black licorice do not have a soul.
Okay, wait a minute.
And I don't know who... what political linings are on this, so we're just kind of going through it and commenting on it just so you guys all know.
Okay, like...
So this one says that it's true that the U.S. is not culturally aware.
The only reason why we're not culturally aware is because
we Americanize a lot of stuff.
We're a huge melting pot, and like our culture... Well, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
we're
like,
in
our
the
country
midst of a
was,
ton of propaganda too right now, so I'm like...
Our country was made from immigration, so I mean, like...
Yeah.
We have everybody from all different kinds of cultures here.
Like, who are our founding fathers? They were Europeans.
Mm-hmm. So I think it, like, kind of gets skewed over time and becomes a little less accurate the more that it's...
And that's not good.
Over here, so.
Well, no, it's not. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because like you get a society with a common culture, and the common culture in America is freedom, right? The freedom to exist as you want to exist without
Constitution, all that stuff.
So freedom, like the Constitution, and having the freedom to speak and to practice whatever religion and all that, that's kind of the culture. But within that, there's like all these other cultures and stuff, and so that's maybe why people are... Maybe that's why they say that, but then again, website stuff, I don't know. I
mean, it might have to do with like the lack of authenticity too, because it's like people come here and notice that things are more Americanized and it's not the actual thing. Like, yeah, no duh, like sushi here is not going to be as great as it is where it was
especially when you're getting sushi in an inland state. Yeah, like it's nowhere near the ocean.
We don't have the luxury of living by the ocean and having fresh sushi. It's just
we got euthanized sushi.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
You gotta actually look. You have to actually search for places that have like actual raw fish, because a lot of the sushi out here in Utah is like, we have California rolls. That's sushi. It's just like,
no, it's not.
But no. For me, anything sushi is raw. But anyway.
Speaking of, do you want to get sushi tonight? That sounds really good.
Tasty.
You want to go to Ninja?
We would have to. No, I do not want to go to Ninja. Ninja is gross.
So am I. That's okay.
Like, they really need to update that place.
No,
they
stop
need to.
It.
Like, everything's like falling apart. Like, everything looks like it's not been cleaned in 20 years.
Okay, well, let's get back. We don't need to talk about local stuff. All right.
So
let's get back to our stereotype list.
Okay, so how about it's faults that USA folk are entitled?
It depends.
No.
I feel like it's one of those.
They say in
like,
general that we're not entitled.
That we're not entitled?
Yeah.
No, I think Americans like.
No.
A lot of us are. A lot of us aren't.
So it kind of goes with ideology, right? Some people think that they're entitled to different things.
Well, also think,
And
like,
then there's the opposite that says pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You work for what you get, kind of thing. And that's kind of
well, I
the
mean, think
value
about your professor that you were talking about just now.
yeah.
Do you feel like there was some entitlement there?
Well, yeah, well, no. I think there was condescension. So entitlement and superiority aren't necessarily the same thing. Like, I felt like he had superiority complex a little bit. Okay, so let me give you an example. I operate a little bit differently. Like, professors are all, you should reach out if you need extensions or if you need this and stuff. And I go, I'm going to do my best to meet it within the parameters that I am, because I'm not interested in seeking special treatment to achieve my goal. But then there's other people who will, like, 100% use every excuse to get every... They're like, oh, I couldn't do it because of this and this and this, and so I need you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm adjusting myself here. So what I've noticed here, this is like especially with college students, and I don't know if this is a thing like anywhere else, but this is what I've noticed in Utah is like you have a lot of kids that grew up in a super conservative household, and they're very like they're brought up in this way where they're kind of limited in their freedoms with their parents and everything, and they move out and they come to college and they find out that they have all this freedom now, and
they go a little crazy,
and that goes to their heads. I've noticed that a lot with college students.
I think that too, but I think also like I think sometimes people misconstrue entitlement for what people know what their freedoms are as well. Like I think sometimes like that kind of gets kind of muddled together, but I will admit there's definitely, you know, some generations now where there's such an entitlement where they feel like they can have anything and everything and they don't have to pay for it or work for it.
Yeah, entitlement is a very dangerous mindset to be in.
But it also, I think it comes from the younger kids.
No, not necessarily.
Like the early teens.
No, because, okay, for example, I ran a homeless shelter in Ogden, like for a year and a half or so. 2 years. I don't know. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But like literally it would irritate the living crap out of me. The number of people that would come in and said, well, you have to give me a shelter because I'm homeless, and you have to give me bus vouchers, and you have to do this and this and this because I'm homeless. And it's like, no, I don't have to do anything. We are putting this, but like, I'm entitled to these services because of this, and I don't have to do anything in return, which is really hard because it's like I don't even have to be working towards becoming a contributing member of society. Mm-hmm. I'm just owed this kind of thing. Yeah. And that's really dangerous.
It's like, what have you done to deserve it, man? Like,
right? And it's like, yes, I am 100% willing to help you with the resources and give you what you need.
But if you're going to be a dick about it, like,
but
keep in mind,
yeah,
I don't
piss
have
off,
to.
right?
Right. Entitlement is like the opposite of being grateful in a lot of ways, and that's a toxic mindset.
Yeah.
And like, at least from my life and my lived experience, the people that I have seen who come from an entitled headspace are usually the most miserable, whiny, narcissistic little shits.
They're never going to be happy with what they have.
And I'm saying that because there have been times in my life where I have been an entitled little shit. And I know this, right? Too. Like, but I feel like everybody goes through that, you know, and yes, you're grateful if you get through it when you're younger, but the people who don't come out of that entitlement are the people that are not having the best of life.
What if we can generalize the statement a little bit more? Is it millennials that are entitled?
I think it starts with them, and I think millennials are starting to get to the age where they're realizing it's not making them happy.
So refer to like Simon Sinek and his speeches and how he's talked about the millennial question, right? Where like millennials are brought up in like we grow up with like participation trophies where we get
Right.
we
Yeah,
get
that's
credit,
true.
we get praise just for showing up and just for
Yeah.
participating, versus like getting rewarded for actually accomplishing what was really, really difficult. Like, oh, you got an A for trying.
Yeah.
And then
I
it's
was always
like,
confused about that.
so everything kind of gets handed to you, and then when you grow up, you get to college, you start getting a job, you realize you quickly find out that this stuff isn't handed to you. You actually have to do work for it.
Yeah, but even now,
and
I still think universities are placating a lot to that still sometimes.
I think so too.
And it's frustrating because this is the thing. True learning and true growth come when you step just outside your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But like we have, for some reason or other, like starting with the millennial generation, oh, we don't want them to feel uncomfortable. We don't want them to feel pain or like
And it's weird.
have hurt feelings and stuff. And now we have a bunch of people that are now coming of age and they're like, oh my gosh, you said something and it hurt my feelings and therefore you should get canceled.
I
I'm
know.
like, oh my God.
It's weird too, because like a lot of parenting styles will be like, I don't want my child to go through what I had to go through, and then that child ends up not having the same type of character traits that made you a wonderful person. So it's like,
Adversity
that's really
builds
true.
character. Like, legitimately, adversity builds character. That's why, like, some of the funniest people you know have had the shittiest lives.
oh my goodness,
Right?
Right. Yeah.
And like because they've had adversity and they've developed that skill of humor and making people laugh to get them out of it. That's why like people say that, like, I mean, it's not always the case. It's really not, but this is a stereotype, right? That if you're beautiful, there's not usually much substance to your personality.
Yeah,
And it's
right.
usually because, like, when you have what's deemed as the standard of beauty, you don't have to work very hard for things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've had to work really hard for a lot of things. And people are like, oh, you're smart. And I'm like, yeah, because I like how to work hard to prove that I am just as capable as so-and-so, which means I had to, like, work and develop skills and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, ugly people have to work a little bit hard to fit into society or to be a part of a tribe in a different way than somebody who's beautiful.
Yeah, there's nobody
So
sliding in my
the
DMs.
That's not true.
I haven't had anybody slide into my DMs.
Well, I've had pervs, but, you know.
Yeah,
that's
you've
different.
had, but still,
I don't really get a lot of.
you're a beautiful woman. So I mean,
Yeah.
what can I say?
That's another.
Oh,
another.
speaking of, some guy totally checked out my butt, and Jacob caught him and started laughing. He comes up behind me giggling. I'm like, what? And he's like, that dude was totally checking out your butt.
Yeah,
I was like,
I was
what?
super. I was honestly, I was very proud. I was like, that's right, that's my woman.
I'm like, well, there is a lot of junk in this trunk to be admiring. I'm just kidding. Anyway,
They say men are trash.
nah.
I'm just trying to get where I belong, with that dump truck of an ass.
Oh my God. I have no idea where that came from, but that was fun.
When you're driving a Ram truck.
That's what it's like to drive a
That's-
Ford F-150.
Oh, well, that kind of slips into our this other one that says that it's true that USA folks are generous.
Depends where. What state are you talking about? Which?
So
So this is
capitalist
saying-
societies generally are a generous society.
Yeah, so like we are probably one of the biggest countries that send aid overseas, both personnel and funds. We're one of the biggest responders for like bad hurricanes or bad tornadoes.
Okay,
like,
okay, in that
so that
sense,
kind of stuff. So in that sense, that's what this list is saying.
I
So-
can see where that would make sense for. Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
just
it's
looking
beautiful.
up U.S. stereotypes? Because this is speaking very general to the U.S. population.
Yeah, this is the one I found. The other one it was a list of negative ones, but something keeps popping up and playing, and it's pissing me off. So
Oh. Well, do a Google search for most common stereotypes.
that's what I was doing, silly.
Oh.
So
Sorry.
Do you want negative ones now?
No, I just
So,
want stereotypes in general.
General general stereotypes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Most common general stereotypes.
General stereotypes. No, nobody. Okay. General
stereotypes. I understood it.
Come on, Rianne didn't get that.
No.
She's the one that introduced me to How I Met Your Mother.
What?
Sounds like some major problems.
Major problems.
Major problems.
Oh.
Okay, so this is just okay. So I'm getting a lot of. Let's try most common stereotypes because I just said general stereotypes and it gave me. It didn't give me what we were looking for.
Old people are bad drivers.
That's not necessarily a stereotype. That can be proven.
It's
that
just
can be
true.
scientifically proven. Just because their reflexes aren't where they used to be, you know what I mean? That's like,
Do you guys remember that whole thing that happened last? It was like I think it was 2 years ago down in St. George when someone drove into the In-N-Out and ended up killing someone.
oh no,
Do you guys remember that?
I don't.
So there was an older gentleman who had driven his car inside of the In-N-Out building and ended up killing somebody inside. And it was one of those moments where he was trying to hit his brakes, and instead of hitting the brakes, he hit the gas, and his vehicle went straight through the building.
Dang.
Okay, here's some not so flattering ones.
Okay.
How about
He's under the blanket.
He loves it under the blanket,
Yeah.
and I like it because the AC just kicked on again.
how about blondes are dumb?
Okay, that kind of feeds into that beauty stereotype, right? Because there was a minute there where men prefer blondes and all that stuff. Like,
I think maybe because they're more adept to be what's the word?
I'm more of a brunette.
Submissive
Maybe.
in the relationship.
no,
I'm more of a brunette kind of guy.
Brunette kind of guy.
I,
Okay, how about
I mean some of the easiest
black people only listen to hip hop and rap?
Yeah, no, that's a lie.
that's not true.
Yeah,
But I mean, like, are we
like
going?
there's a whole not a podcast. There's a whole YouTube channel of Black American who's listening to rock music and just getting into like Slayer and Soundgarden.
Okay, look at Jimi Hendrix for example.
Yeah, he wasn't hip hop. He was hardcore.
Yeah,
like,
he was
rock.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about all gay men act like girls?
Oh no.
That's also different. That's not necessarily
no,
true.
no.
It can be, but like not all gay men act like
I mean,
girls.
There's a strong
literally
man that's literally a gay dude that just talks and acts like a regular dude. Just
Well,
happens to
yeah.
be attracted to
I
men.
mean, Dave Rubin doesn't act like a girl, and he's gay, and I love Dave Rubin.
That's true. That is
Dude,
a good point.
The the boy band that I saw last night at Forever Red, we were like trying to figure out, okay, which ones do you think are gay and which ones do you think are straight?
I don't know. I don't assume anything anymore. I mean, because honestly, in today's, it's weird.
It's
Yeah.
The only
hard.
thing
It's
I
always
have
good
here's the honest truth. The only thing I have zero tolerance for is pedophiles,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whether they be male or female.
Well,
The minute you try and sexualize a child,
I have a lot of lines as well, but like especially when the trans communities go after kids or try to push like the pronouns and stuff in like the workplace and
Sexualization,
school, and I'm
yeah.
just like, nah, that's the line. Like,
Let 'em
do
learn
whatever you need to do, with your partner that's of consenting age.
Let them
like,
learn
outside
the
of that.
biology first.
right? Well, and it's like they're not. That's the problem. And they're anyway.
How about this
That's
one?
a whole nother topic that I could go on for days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could kind of go in a bad way if
Probably
we
stick
go
with
into
the
that.
stereotypes for
Yeah, like
Like, what about the
noticed-
stereotype that black people like chicken and waffles and watermelon?
That's actually pretty true.
It actually is really true. because I know people, they love it. But I'm like, I like all of those things too.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Speaking
that's
of watermelons, my goal right now with my legs is to get to a point where I can crush a watermelon in between my legs.
Are you
That's
going to
pretty
do a
cool.
TikTok with it? Because that's been a thing on TikTok.
I mean, I'm definitely going to film it, but I don't know if I'm going to post it on TikTok.
You
But
should post it on
All
TikTok.
right. How about this one? All Christians hate gays.
Oh, that's so not true. I'm
yeah.
Christian and I love gays.
Same.
I'm not Christian.
Well, I
I'm
guess I should
Alakai.
say. Well, that's a good point.
I identify as a Christian believer, but
I was gonna say I have a
also
lot of Christian
love
values,
gays.
but I don't.
I identify as more of an agnostic thinker, but I mean at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
My parents are very Christian, and they also have a lot of love and respect for the LGBTQ plus community. So
Yeah.
Because I love people,
Yeah.
not how
And
they
as long as they're
identify.
good people, they're good people. Like that's the whole thing when it comes to Dr. Martin Luther King. Like he wasn't the greatest person. Like he was a womanizer, but he also
Womanizer. Sorry.
what was that, Beyonce?
I
No.
love how like loving and kind that community is. What I don't like is how
That's the
aggressive
th-
they will be when like you say one thing that's like, okay, like I didn't mean it like that.
Okay,
Like, you'll get your ass chewed out. Like
just because they identify, that doesn't mean they're loving and kind. Some of the most vicious and toxic people I know are.
see that's
gay,
what
too.
that's what I mean. Like I love and appreciate when they're very kind and loving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate it when like you say one thing that's off and you don't necessarily like
They like
need to
demand tolerance for them, but like
you need to reword
extend
it
none.
somehow, and it's like
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
like hang on, like I'm not trying to fight you.
But
Yeah.
you can't dictate speech either.
Mhm.
That's kind of
Yeah,
This is where we're getting
we're
like
getting to like Jordan Peterson stuff.
this is what frustrates me is like you do you. I am all for it, but you can't dictate how I talk about it. And it's like and it's not meant
'Cause
to
we
be
live in America.
disrespectful.
It's called freedom of
Like
speech.
you know what I mean? It's just when you criminalize speech, it's a very steep
Dangerous
and slippery slope.
Well, that's what's happening out in the
And
UK
it's happening,
right now.
yeah.
Like they're literally have laws around speech now where if you say things like, let's say you say something like, well, men are men, women are women. The police can come to your house and investigate, and they can take a criminal report for hate speech because
like
it's
that.
transphobic,
Yeah.
quote unquote. But I think what's really important is that, it doesn't really matter who or what you think you are. Like, if you're a good person, you're a good person. If you're a bad person, you're a bad person. Like, and I know that sounds very black and white, and we're all
People
very
evolve.
gray. Like, we all have good and bad within us. Like, we all have good and bad thoughts, but it's, how we observe and work around people, and if we act on those things, that's really where, the whole of our character comes out. And that's where I think it's really important. We need to be judged by our character and not by our skin or our sex or
yeah,
identification or whatever you
Yeah.
want to say.
for sure.
How about heavy metal artists or devil worshippers?
No.
Dude, all you gotta do
Hedonistic,
is
sure, but
you just gotta watch Stranger Things.
Oh my goodness, Eddie,
Yes.
my man Eddie. I love that kid.
everybody
Hey.
loves Eddie.
But
know what-
like seriously, even learning more about the actor that played Eddie, I'm like, this dude's cool. I like him.
I like him a lot. Yeah.
I'm so glad that they have him in Stranger Things.
I'm kind of bummed that like Stranger Things does that thing. Sorry, side thing. Stranger Things does that thing where they kill off a character that you have for just one season, but they make you fall in love with that character. They
Yeah.
did it with Bob.
I don't think he's dead though.
You don't.
No,
It
it didn't
I don't know.
show him dying. it-
It looked like he was dead.
Did it? I'm gonna
Looked
have
like-
to watch it.
Dustin was holding his dead body.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Oh.
like he died. I don't know if you were watching the same show I was, but
Well, maybe I'm gonna have to watch. Maybe I blacked
Anyways.
it out or I fell asleep because I was so flippin' exhausted. That's possible.
okay.
What other stereotypes?
So how
you got?
about black men have big Johnsons and they're great lovers in the bed, in the boudoir?
Okay. I don't know about the great lovers, but the bigger, yes, 100%.
That's actually been proven by science too. Like,
Yeah.
Black-
and you know
Black
who has
Ameri-
the littlest? Asians.
That's not even a stereotype.
That's a stereotype.
No.
That's not a stereotype,
No,
bro.
it's proven.
That's proven scientifically.
Scientifically proven. And so I was on TikTok, and that guy he has the freaking mullet. He's a comedian with a mullet, and he's freaking hilarious. I love him.
Bobby
Something. He's
Bobby
like
Cho or Bobby?
No, I
What's
can't
his name?
remember. But he was on TikTok like there was a piece of podcast that came up on
Bobby
TikTok.
Lee.
Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee's his name.
And he was like, I think it's evolution, bro. He's like black men have longer members because black women have more
Room.
junk in the trunk. And so it needs to be longer in order to make sure procreation happens. And then he's like, but Asian people, they're not big or don't have very bodacious booties, just physiologically. So therefore the need for Asian men to have longer members is not necessary.
If there was a way for you to zoom the camera, Jacob.
I'm sorry.
hiding.
She is
I'm
totally
hiding.
hiding behind that microphone, but
Well,
that's okay.
I keep sliding down, and the microphone isn't coming with me. So anyway,
Yeah.
but
So I always thought it was the English that had the smallest, but
no, it's Asians.
No, apparently it's Asians.
Now the Norsemen.
The Scandinavians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on before we get too crazy in this. How about Mexican people are lazy? What do you guys
Oh, that
think?
is bullshit.
That's not true, dude. Johnny is like
Like,
one of
you
the
go
hardest
sit in
working
the
people I've
heat.
ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Remember Johnny Lopez?
Yes, I do.
Is that
He was such a
Eddie's?
great-
Wasn't
such a
that
great
Eddie's
technician.
brother-in-law?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the,
Yeah, one of his brother-in-laws like
my
bounced out and didn't come out for the summer, and he lost out on a lot of money.
My scoutmaster was also Mexican and also one of the hardest working men I've ever met in my entire life.
Well, I
So.
mean, that's such a stupid stereotype because who does
is.
the majority of hard labor jobs?
Yeah.
Who's doing
Yeah.
all those jobs that
Yeah, who's
like,
on the roof?
lazy ass white people don't want to do?
Who's on the roofs in like
I'm sorry,
120
but it's
degree
true.
weather out in Arizona?
Oh my god.
Like let me tell you, like the Latino community, like they are not lazy people.
No.
They definitely are. When they get to the point where they're in leisure time, yeah,
They're in leisure time.
They are in leisure
And
time.
you know
let
what?
me tell you, they are cervezas and Coronas all around.
I
They're
would-
Tequila.
enjoying their
I
leisure time.
would love
But-
to be able to enjoy my leisure time the way they enjoy their leisure time.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
that, yes.
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 Cervezas.
So that's a positive stereotype. But I grew up in Arizona, and it's it's predominantly white, but the other large portion in Arizona is the Latinos, and then like spurts here or there of like black and Asian.
Well, it's probably more so now.
But literally,
Since the
I
border.
worked in warehouses, like I worked in construction, like I worked in painting, like seriously, some of the hardest working people. Like, and a lot of times, like they they're really smart about their money as well. Like they'll have like half of their family working at the same place, and then they all live under one roof, and they have like all these extra incomes. Like super smart, like very savvy people when it comes to money. And oftentimes they'll send a lot of that money back to Mexico for family and friends.
oh yeah.
Like super hardworking people. Okay.
And they like the thicker ladies too.
Yes, they do.
I do very well in Mexico.
She
I
does.
also enjoy the thicker ladies as well.
What? Alakai, I did not know.
I don't really have a type.
Oh,
So-
fair.
But thick, like thick ladies. Mm.
Okay, hi.
Mm.
I,
All right.
I don't.
Okay,
I
let's
think-
move on.
Fuck,
Okay.
I almost slipped there.
How about redheads are always angry?
I don't know, Rian. You tell us.
Okay, so
I have noticed that redheads are a lot spicier.
Should say definitely fiery. For
So
sure,
I
but-
will say redheads. Okay.
They have a spicier personality.
So my experience.
I said what I said.
I said. So not
She's
all
not
redheads
disagreeing.
are angry, but I will say a lot of or spicy. But the redheads I know are passionate.
That's a good term
Okay,
to
so
use.
like,
So would you
how
say
they
that-
apply their passion is different. Like, sometimes my passion comes out in like
Whoops.
justified anger, right? Or like, but at the same time, like, I'm feisty. I don't back down very easily. Like,
Notice that.
You
yeah.
know what's really interesting about redheads? I find white redhead women are very similar to their demeanor as black women.
okay.
What?
So black women are known to be feisty.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
more like
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see what you mean now.
they're protective.
Have you heard Bill Burr and talk about his wife?
Oh, that's right, because he's married to
a black woman. Yeah.
But like, I will say this, like, the protective, the how do I say this? I think they get that stereotype because the protective nature is very strong. Like, my
Yeah.
protective nature is very strong. Not necessarily for myself, but you come after my husband, or like if somebody were to come after you, I'd be like,
There's
back
been
the
several.
fuck off.
There's been several times I've seriously had to be like, babe, okay, I'm gonna talk you down here.
No, he's had to, because he's like, oh shit, she's about to go.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I haven't gotten
Yeah. Just
into
like,
jail,
babe,
but like,
leave it. Just leave it alone.
I'm like,
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it going to jail over.
you know what I'd be curious of is to see how many people who are, or how many women who are called Karens or redheads.
Honestly, most Karens I've seen have been brunettes.
Brunettes or
Blonde.
blondes.
And some blondes, yeah.
I think redheads are maybe a little bit more strategic, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would probably say so.
But I will say, like, there is a fire, and I think because the red hair is fiery, right? Like, we're fiery. We don't back down from a fight. Like,
Well,
it just symbolizes.
Well, your ancestors are from Scotland and Scandinavia, and
yeah.
they also call you touched by fire.
Touched by fire. They also say gingers have no soul. So, whatever.
Well, I definitely disagree with that, but
But I will say,
this has been a very
Shit.
interesting
I don't know. I
podcast.
forgot what I was going to say.
Friggin' love it.
Talking about redheads.
Yeah.
Passionate.
I
fire
think
women.
sometimes, like, I'm afraid that, like, if I were, like, my best self and my, like, my most lean, buff body and, like, wasn't inhibited by certain things, I might get a little too crazy with certain people. Or
Start tossing me around.
or feel a little too much like, yeah, I'll go. Like, I kind of, like, am reserved because I'm like, yeah, I'm not in the best shape. They could probably kick my ass because I'm just not in the best shape. But, like, if it was, I don't know, there's a few people I could be like, oh, yeah, I could take them. I could take them.
That's where I just wear rings all the time. I'm like, let's go. It's going to hurt. Like,
Yeah,
may not be able to punch that hard, but I mean, like.
I will be honest, I have never been in a fist fight with somebody outside of my
Never?
family.
Oh, really?
And I've only been in one fist fight, and I won't say with who.
Really?
Yeah.
What about you, Alka? Have you ever been in a fight?
Yeah. Not proud of it.
That's something that's really interesting. Is that, like,
I've broken up fights before, too.
Yeah. I would say you probably broke up more fights than you did actual fist fight.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, that's probably true.
Just
I
because
think
I
I'm
know
like-
you fairly well.
You know me. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But
you're
like,
a lover, not
Yeah.
a fighter.
no, like the times that I've had to fight, it's usually, I feel like it's for a pretty justified reason. Like, if someone's gonna come after me, like, of course I'm going to defend myself. Like, I'm never going to seek out fights, but I am going to, like, make sure that I'm protected.
Yeah.
So
I will be 100% honest. It takes a lot to get me to where I'm physical, but one of the quickest ways to get me to where I'm willing to, like, cut a bitch is come after my family or come after somebody I love.
Yeah.
see,
But I'm more likely to come after you with my words and demolish the living crap out of your self-esteem and sense of self if you're coming after people I love than I...
Yeah.
see, like, I just find ways to roast people. Like, homie, like, I may be skinny, but you're so short. You were probably born after pre-cum. Daddy'd been providing all the sperm for you to reach the top shelf without you having to ask for help.
Oh, damn.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I've only been.
Look at you, Mom. You look like you got a queef that's been sitting in you since you had all your 3 of your children.
Jeez.
Yeah, Karen, I know my tattoos are permanent, but so are your 3 kids. Get out of here.
Jeepers, Judy.
Dude.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to run away from a lot of fights because growing up,
Man, people want to take you on.
I don't know. I honestly am the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like when you actually, talk to me for more than 2 seconds. But
I'm scared
for
of
whatever
Jacob.
reason, like they look at me and they go, "I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy." And
You
you're
know
like,
what is
"Why?"
so funny? It is the weirdest thing, okay? Because Jacob, literally one of the kindest, gentlest, loving souls I have ever met. Thus the reason why I am married to him. But he comes in a package that is very
Yeah,
strong.
I'm 6'3". I'm 320 pounds. I'm a very intimidating build. For sure.
But I have seen the shortest the short little guys that are jacked up, but they're like, "What, you want to go?" And they try and take Jacob on, and
I'm just like, dude,
are you
I
serious?
don't even know you.
Just use my line that I used to roast them with how short they are. No, but do you think
There
that
you
might be because you're so kind and lovable that's why you might be targeted? Is because it might? Do you think you might be seen as an easy target because of that?
I think they feel like they can.
probably,
He's not gonna.
maybe
he's not gonna.
subconsciously, maybe they kind of get an idea
He's
I
too
could take this
friendly.
guy.
He's too friendly,
yeah,
and
he's
I'm
too
not.
nice.
He's not gonna
Yeah.
fight me back.
They're like,
think
I'm
so.
gonna exert some dominance to kind of peacock for these people here,
For my
and I'm
butt,
gonna
for
do
my
it
bros.
with this gentle giant right here because I know it's gonna take a lot to get him to where he is.
Always
So
gotta
I can
protect the gentle giant.
Yeah.
peacock with him and still be somewhat safe, as opposed to some crazy eyed roided up 6'4" giant. You know what I mean? They're not gonna go after him, and if they did, then they're stupid.
You just got to find a way to roast the hell out of them and beat down their insecurity before you beat down them themselves. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been able to avoid fights for the most part of my life. I've only had a couple of times where I've had some altercations. One of the earliest ones I can think of, I actually got in an altercation with my best friend at the time. He lived across the street. And I picked a fight with him because he was being an absolute douchebag. And unfortunately, I poked him in a way that was very, very bad taste. And I still feel bad. Aaron, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, bro.
See, you still feel bad over
I still
stuff
feel
like
bad
that.
over this. Dude, we were not even teenagers yet. We were anyways, we were in grade school. So his father, unfortunately, died in the Oklahoma City bombing. And at that time, my mom was single and he was, making fun of me and stuff like that. And I was like, well, at least at least I have a dad. And, he provoked him because he was being a complete dick. And so he came up to me and he pushed me and I was like, all right, pop, pop, twice right into the lip and his nose. Ended the fight like that. But I started it and I feel bad about it.
As someone who has been punched in not on purpose
in my sleep fighting
in his
demons.
sleep, he fights demons, and I unfortunately am in the bed when that happens, and so sometimes I get whacked.
Thank God it hasn't happened in quite a while, but
No,
still.
it happened a month and a half ago.
Oh, sorry.
Remember,
She
I
doesn't
woke
tell
up and
me
I
these
was
things.
really pissed.
She doesn't tell me these things.
And we fought for the rest of the day because my nose was sore because he legit and there was a pillow in between. He hit me through a pillow, but it hurt like a beast.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's not pleasant when you do that.
Getting punched.
Another
hurts, man.
time, even earlier than that, I used to get chased around at recess time, by these kids who thought they were all badass and oh yeah, I'm a gangster. I'm gonna come and kick your ass. I'm gonna kill your family and I'm gonna cut you with a knife. And I'm just
Yeah, I've had that.
bro.
Did they
and
really
these kids
say
were
that?
these kids literally come up to my chest on me. They're so damn short.
Kids were threatening to kill your
Oh, yeah.
family?
Oh, yeah.
I've had
What the
I've had
fuck?
experiences like that too. Yeah.
And I just run
Sorry,
away.
but that is what?
At that time I was actually pretty fast, so I just run away from those guys. But another time, one of my good buddies, we were teasing him, and we were every once in a while we'll take somebody's hat off because we all wore hats and we'd like play keep away for a minute, and then I was like, all right guys, that's enough. So I grabbed the hat and I gave it back to him, and what I didn't realize was he tried to grab the hat from somebody and somebody snatched it back and tore off one of the patches on his hat.
Ooh.
He was not happy, so he jumped on me because he thought I did it. I didn't do it. So he jumped on me, and I'm just like, dude, like, get off me. So he jumped on me again. He grabbed me and got me in a headlock, and I was just like I'm sitting there in a headlock. I'm like, dude, you really need to let me go. like that calm. I was just like, bro, I need you to let go right now. I will pick you up and I will throw you. And he didn't. So I reached around him, picked him up, and I threw him on the ground. That was it. That was the end of it.
See, that is why he is sexy to me.
I've had little kids like come at me and be like, oh, you think you know karate? I'm like, dude, I don't know karate. He's like, well, fuck you and your mom. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And just like come up and like smack me with one of their karate stuff. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? like kids would just do that just because I was a tall kid. Like,
they were students of the Cobra Kai, apparently.
But anyways,
can we drop the F-bomb now on the show?
No, but you did. I did. But
you did.
I have on accident. Yeah.
You did once, and Jacob just did it like 3 times.
When?
And went,
just now.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Well, go back and watch the episode.
Oh my gosh, you literally said it like 3 times.
My bad.
He didn't even know.
I didn't even notice, bro. I'm sorry.
But that's why
Mom.
That's why I love Jacob, though, because like he can have people come at him and stuff, and he's like, I'm not gonna get angry and just come at you just because. Like, you have to provoke him a lot, but when you do provoke him, like, look the flip out, because
if you get me in a corner and you push me to the point,
gets angry, it's scary, and I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
It's scary, though.
The angry is scary. Like, I'm like the
he
Hulk
goes
in that
Hulk.
way. Yeah.
Like, seriously. But that's why I love him, because usually it doesn't come out because somebody's doing something to him. It's because they're doing something to his family. Like, he's very we have very similar ways that way, but like, I feel so safe with Jacob. I know that if any person were to come at me to try and physically cause me harm, I have no worries, because like his adrenaline would kick in, and like
that person will go home in the hospital. Like, they will go to the hospital in an ambulance. Like, yeah. I will not stop until somebody pulls me off.
Yeah. So yes, but this is why I love Jacob, is because he has that capacity and that ability to cause the harm, but he doesn't. He keeps it under control. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And it's hard because I'm always angry.
That's my secret.
I'm
always angry.
Anyways, sorry for the F-bomb, you guys. I didn't even realize. I'm just I think I just got too comfortable and I wasn't watching my mouth. Oh, my bad.
Yep. Well, you were reliving some
trauma. Yeah, I was a little bit. That's a good point.
Okay. We've been going for a minute. How long have we been going?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
I forgot the
We can go another. We can be done at 3.
Should we talk about maybe 2 or 3 more
stereotypes?
Yeah. How about this one? This one's one that's very popular. How about rich people are heartless?
No.
I don't know. I don't have rich friends, so.
Rianne's worked with a lot of rich people.
Not all rich people are heartless. In fact, I know a lot of rich people who have very big hearts, but they are very conscientious of how they utilize their money. And so if you are a person that wants their money,
they're going to find as many reasons as they can to not give it to you.
No, not necessarily. If you are a person that wants their money, like, it's, and if they don't align with what you're, whatever, I don't know. But there is a certain level of, I would say rich people have learned how to harness and control their emotions.
Why is that, you think?
Well, because think about it. When you purchase stuff, it's usually done out of emotion. When you impulse buy, it's out of emotion. When you money is a very emotional thing for a lot of people because
Yeah.
it gives you certain things in this world, right? Money gives you status. And so it's like they've figured out how to harness those emotions of either inadequacy or lack of self-worth, you know what I mean? And they learn how to, but there's some people who thrive in emotions, but I would say,
I don't thrive in an emotional situations.
no, you do thrive in you're an emotional person, but like different, I don't know, we're all, anyway, I don't know how to explain it, or they've learned how to control their thoughts better than most people.
They're not prone
And
to making impulse buys.
Well,
like,
and sometimes
or
that comes across.
purchases.
I think people with money have learned how to control their thoughts and how to control their emotional state, and like learning how to interact with the world and society in a certain way. And sometimes that can come across as disingenuous or maybe heartless to people who haven't figured that out, right? So I don't think I think there are heartless rich people for sure, like, but that'll take us in not all of them are that way, but I will say that there are some, but it's like with anybody else, right?
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say
there's asshole homeless people, and then there's other homeless people who will get $1 and give it to the homeless dude sitting next to him, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, I think
hashtag not all.
Yeah, I don't think money creates a heartless person or whatever. I think it just amplifies either. So having no money or a lot of money just amplifies the type of person you are, and those characteristics.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've shaken many hands and I've met like at least a handful of millionaires, and these are people who, you know, have very large businesses, or they're like really good salesmen, or whatever the case may be. And I haven't met one that I felt like was heartless or like parasitical or like was negative in nature. I would definitely say that they were actually very surprisingly kind people, to be honest. I mean, I don't think my mother would have had the jobs that she had if she didn't know people that were rich at the time we were growing up. Like there was there's just a lot. I think honestly, if a lot more people who are poor, not only in funds but in spirit, like if they met other like rich people that are considered rich, like people that are making like millions of dollars, like I think they would, and actually ask some questions and talk to them, I think people would have like a different outlook on, you know, what rich people are all about. And I found people very what's the word, where they give a lot of money to charities and stuff like that.
Philanthropic?
Yes, that word. I can't say that word for some reason. It doesn't work in my brain. Yeah, I haven't met a rich person I was just like, oh, that dude's a douchebag, or that dude sucks. He's not a good person. I haven't met too many people that were like that.
Yeah. Okay. What's the next one?
I don't know what can. Okay, while I'm looking, can you guys think of any? Sorry, I was talking then rather than searching.
How about if you're emotional, you're not masculine?
Is that like are we gearing towards like men?
Well, yeah,
like
if
like
guys
men
were
and
to
women
show that they're
stereotypes?
emotional, then they're like a pussy, or, you know, like a baby or wuss or whatever. Like, I feel like that stereotype is kind of disappearing, but at the same time I feel like, I don't know, it's being amplified by certain social media too.
It's weird because I was raised in like a very conflicting type of thing for like my dad is very masculine and very like that's kind of how he goes, but at the same time, like, my mom is my best friend in the world, and she was the one that encouraged me, like, if you have feelings, like, you need to, like, you can talk to somebody, or you should talk to somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be us. It doesn't have to be, like, anyone in your family, but, like, just tell somebody. Like,
Yeah.
so, it's weird because now that I'm older and I'm seeing a lot of people with that mindset, it's like, I don't know. It just always seems kind of weird to me.
Well, I think gender stereotypes and gender roles like have kind of been a bit more blended now. It's not just the man going to work like it was 50, 60 years ago, and just the woman staying at home, cleaning, cooking, raising the kids. Like it's kind of like a more of a blended kind of like it's not as. And I think maybe that's probably why we have all this like real like confusion of like what men are supposed to do, what women are supposed to do, and like what are our roles. But there's definitely to say that there's definitely been some blending when it comes to like the gender roles are concerned.
Yeah. I would love to be a stay-at-home dad, and like I know like apparently that's a red flag for for like women among dating. If they're like, if I meet a guy that's like he wants to be a stay-at-home dad, then I'm gonna say no. I'm like, well, I mean,
let me look at the statistics on that.
Maybe I just want to spend more time with my kid. Maybe I enjoy doing stuff like cooking and cleaning at home. I actually love cooking and I love cleaning. So
I do a lot of it. I actually like it too.
I love cooking. I love cleaning up around the house. Like,
see, and I will be 100% honest.
1 in 5 parents have stay-at-home dads.
That's cool. But I will be 100% honest. When it comes to our relationship and stuff, and I have a lot of masculine energy. I am a woman, but I have masculine energy in a lot of ways.
But you embrace that, right?
Yeah, I would probably say, yeah, you definitely have some more masculine roles in your personality.
Yeah, like I lean to the masculine a lot.
Yeah.
And not because, and maybe that's to compensate for certain things. I've been alone for a lot of my life, and I've kind of had to adopt some of them, even just to survive and do certain career growth and everything. And I'm not gonna lie, I would love to be a stay-at-home wife, and it would take some getting used to, and I'd have to learn how to engage a little bit differently, but like I don't do well if I don't have something to focus on, and so I like the challenge that work gives me.
Yeah.
Jacob, on the other hand, is he likes to apply his challenge to like developing the podcast and all that sort of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't
or writing or music or like,
right, like that's
more
a
of
creative, which is typically has been typically more of a feminine, associated more to the feminine energy. He also does dishes, does laundry and stuff, and that's mainly because
a lot of cooking, a lot of cleaning. I do a lot of that stuff, yeah.
But that I'm also working
and going to
outside
school
of the home
and,
more.
Yeah.
And so like we're egalitarian in a lot of ways, but like I don't mind that. I'm like Jacob's like he's kind of like my pseudo house husband, and I
kind of am, yeah. Because especially when I have like, well, yeah, I'm doing most of it like on. But
well,
yeah.
you do, but like you can go to work and like some days you only work like 3 hours out of the day.
Yeah, then I'll come home and I'll do some.
And he has more time for that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm totally okay with it, and he's totally secure in it. But he's also a manly man too. And,
I also kind of think that like being unafraid to share your emotions and talk about your feelings is a more manly trait, because you're not like the last.
That is not true.
Wait, what?
Sharing feelings is not considered a manly trait. In fact, women, when men start to share their feelings, a lot of times most women, I'm not saying all women, but I'm saying most women actually see that as a negative and see that as, oh, well, this person is weak when men start sharing their emotions. And so society as a whole has dictated that men don't share their feelings, and that's why men keep their feelings to themselves most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
In general.
Can you at least let me finish what I was going to say?
No.
Jacob!
I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I'm just kidding, bro.
Don't leave Malachi.
Bro,
I want to hear what you're saying.
I'm messing with you. I'm sorry. But
Yes, what were you saying?
that part was true. But anyway.
Okay, so in my head where I'm thinking with this is like seeing it as a manly trait, in the sense that like the last thing that you're afraid of is getting judged for like sharing your feelings and being open with that shit. Like that's the last thing that you're afraid of. That's where I was going with that. That's all.
Huh. That's it. Now, was
What
that
do you
like
mean
your
that's the
experience,
last?
like growing up and like the relationships that you've had? Like, has that been the case with you?
Kind of. I've always just kind of seen that as like, oh, like if I come across another man who's like open with their emotions and like willing to share what they're feeling, it's like, to me, that's almost kind of like inspiring, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yes, it takes a lot of strength and a lot of trust to exhibit emotions and stuff, especially from a man. Because like in society,
if you're afraid to be seen as like a little bitch or a pussy for sharing your feelings,
then you're not secure in yourself, and
then you yourself are insecure and in and of itself a little bitch. So like,
yeah, like that like, makes sense. I see how I get it.
Okay, I think I see what you're saying now.
So that's what I mean. But like, yeah, it's just like the last thing that you're going to be afraid of is how someone's going to see you just for sharing where your thoughts are at and what you're feeling. So I mean,
yeah, and I think it's also depends on your friends and stuff as well, because growing up I didn't have friends that I felt comfortable or secure in sharing my inner feelings with, like if I was scared or afraid or whatever the case may be, because the way that I grew around these certain individuals, that was a characteristic of weakness. And so if you shared your feelings, like if other kids would be like, oh, I'm so scared, be like, oh, you effing pussy, like you get out there and you kick ass. And it's like, so that shows everybody else who's are sensitive, and I've been a very sensitive person like my whole life. So if I shared my feelings like that, I knew I'd get ridiculed. And so I honestly, Alika, you're probably the first friend I've had where I would feel comfortable saying, speaking about my feelings and emotions the way that I would share them with somebody.
Because I don't judge for having feelings. Like
exactly. Everybody I've ever grown up with,
that's
and the friends
where
I've had.
like the true bromance is like
that
somebody
is true.
who
That's
you can be
the ideal bromance.
Candid, and it is hard. It is so hard for men to find good friends.
It's hard for women as well. Like that's another stereotype.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah, because women are catty and mean, and they don't get physical, but they are mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Which is interesting too, because it's like one of those. That's another stereotype is that men tend to be more abusive than women do.
And that's actually statistically incorrect.
No. Physically, yes, because they will use. Jacob, anyway, physically they can abuse, like, yes, but women, when it's a domestic violence situation, women are abusive, but they will be abusive mentally. And emotionally, where men usually are physically abusive. Yeah. And well, I mean, they're mentally and emotionally abusive too as part of it. But usually, abuse from a man will usually physically manifest.
Okay, so
for women it doesn't, and that's why there's also the stereotype, like, oh, you got beat up by a woman and stuff, But at the same time, women are mentally and emotionally abusive.
Versus like your heart and your mind is the one that's taking the beating.
So I just want you to understand, and please don't be upset.
Where you better cite your source.
Domesticviolencelaw.com. So 7 out of 10 physical altercations are started by women, where only 2 of them is usually by the man.
Jacob, I don't know how credible that source is. I'm just saying a .com, like, unless it can cite the sources where they found those statistics.
Domestic violence defense lawyers.
Okay, well, there you go.
Interesting.
So they say that 70% of the violence are perpetrated by women versus men.
Is that just in the U.S. or?
I
I
would
would assume so. If it's
Yeah, I'm
I would
assuming
take
it's-
that with
it's
a grain
in-
of salt.
According to the
honestly.
Center of Disease Control, is what they're citing. Psychological studies 2006, 553 collaborating couples. So this is information from a study.
From the CDC, and it said physical altercations.
Yes.
Okay.
interesting.
In
Well, and that
relationships
is-
where violence was non-mutual, almost 70% of the violence was perpetrated by women.
Non-mute.
Even Crowder in their studies, they found that women are the majority of the perpetrators who start I can't talk, who are initiating the physical violence in a domestic
Okay,
abuse.
usually, okay, but there are so many dynamics, and this is true. It's really hard to identify a primary aggressor and stuff. That's why we watched the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing to kind of see, because it's like a woman primary aggressor is really hard sometimes, because a woman will lash. I don't know. There's
What
so
they're
much. I
saying
don't want to
is
get into the dynamic.
They're
of
just saying that out of the 500 collaborating couples in the psychological study in 2006,
Okay.
70% women initiated the physical assaults.
Okay.
So women took the first swing. Not like they made you mad until the point he hit you.
You don't know that. Did it tell you that in the study?
That's
though?
what it says.
Well,
I'll send
I know,
it to
but
you.
you don't know if the woman got made so mad that I don't know.
We don't know, but there's
nuances.
almost 500 couples that were a part of this study, and that was the data that they got out of it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Could
there
it be
there
wrong?
are
I
there
don't
are
know,
a lot of
but-
factors that we don't know about, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, take that information with a grain of salt. Obviously, do your own research, but
And that's also
That's-
a pretty old study. I wonder if there's been more recent ones.
that's possible. But that's the most recent one I've researched.
Man, isn't it weird how a lot of our conversations keep coming back to DV?
It's like you can't escape work.
Seriously.
Sorry, babe. I love you. I apologize.
But it's sad though. It's an issue. Like, that's the thing. Relationships are dynamic and complicated and
Always evolving.
always evolving and stuff. And so, and when people are passionate, things happen.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. But it's complicated too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, what are
don't
some of
know.
your
I
thoughts
don't
on stereotypes? Like, what are your last thoughts on stereotypes?
I think sometimes there's a lot of truth to them.
There's a lot of truth to them, but also do your own experimenting, do your own research before
Yeah,
you
go off your own life experience.
Yeah,
Don't,
go
don't
off.
base it off of. You know what I mean?
Don't
base
judge
it off
books
what
by
is-
their cover and all that fun stuff. Be better humans, right?
Don't believe the freaking president when he says if somebody's Republican, they're racist, because that is the dumbest thing
Yeah.
ever. And it's dangerous rhetoric. So, but it's just making those huge assumptions are awful.
Yeah, because when you make an assumption, you're making.
An ass out of you and me.
With that being said, from our family to yours, good night.
Good night. Goodbye.
Good night. Hello everyone, Jay Rhymes with the Periodic Review. Today's video is sponsored by viewers like you, so thank you. Hopefully we've earned your subscription today, so don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that damn bell to turn on your notifications so you don't miss a content release. Check out the video links at the end of every video to view our previous content, as well as visit the description section for more links to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and from my family to yours, good night.